Remember 1994? A young Keanu Reeves driving that runaway bus in Speed with Sandra Bullock at his side. You remember the adrenaline, the hair, the way action movies suddenly felt alive again. Or maybe you remember 1999, sitting in a dark theater when The Matrix hit the screen. Neo leaned back, bullets froze in midair, and the whole world gasped together. For one moment, we all believed we were watching the future. But here's the truth: no studio will ever sell you. Behind every smile, behind every blockbuster, Keanu Reeves was carrying a lifetime of loss. He's 61 now, limping quietly through the years. His body scarred, his heart scarred deeper. The man you thought was indestructible, he's been broken 1,000 times and still refused to stay down. This isn't the story of a Hollywood star. This is the story of a man who buried his child, buried the love of his life, buried his brother in spirit, and still got up the next day to give the world everything he had left. Keanu Charles Reeves was born September 2nd, 1964, in Beirut, Lebanon. His very name was poetry. Keanu, Hawaiian for cool breeze over the mountains. But his childhood wasn't poetry. It was chaos. His father walked out when Keanu was barely 2. Gone, just like that. No explanation, no return. By 13, he saw him one last time on Hawaiian soil, and that was it. A boy grows up fast when the man meant to guide him simply vanishes. Keanu once said, "We believed our lives would be better if we had our father with us." But no return ever came. That sentence, "no return ever came," hung over him like a storm cloud for decades. His mother, Patricia, tried. She carried the family across continents: Sydney, New York, Toronto. Every stop meant a new school, a new stepfather, and another goodbye. Home wasn't a place, it was a pause. School never fit him. Dyslexia made every page a battlefield. Teachers thought he was lazy or rebellious. One principal flat out expelled him for asking too many questions. Imagine that. Punished for curiosity. He never forgot that wound. He carried it with him into every role, every script. But hockey was different. Between the pipes, as a goalie, he was the wall. He dreamed of playing in the Ontario Hockey League, maybe even the Olympics. For once, he wasn't the outsider. For once, he belonged. Then came the injury. 15 years old, knee torn, dream gone. Just like that. The boy who had already lost a father, already lost a stable home, now lost the only place he felt safe. But Keanu had already learned the lesson most of us only learn much later. When life slams a door, you don't stand there crying. You pivot. You knock on another. Keanu walked away from school, from hockey, and straight into acting. Canadian TV, a Coca-Cola commercial, a children's program. Awkward beginnings, but it kept the lights on. Then he packed his old Volvo and drove to Los Angeles with almost nothing but stubbornness. Casting agents didn't know what to make of him. Too quiet, too intense, too weird of a name. But then came River's Edge, permanent record, dark roles, heavy roles. Critics whispered, "This kid's not faking it. He carries real shadows." And he did. It was on My Own Private Idaho that he met River Phoenix. Two broken boys from fractured homes who recognized each other instantly. Keanu was stone. River was fire. Together they were unbreakable, or so it seemed. Then came Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, the goofy airhead Ted, a cultural phenomenon. Fun, yes, but also a cage. Hollywood loves to put labels on you. For years, Keanu was stuck as that surfer guy. But Keanu knew who he was. He wasn't chasing stardom. He was chasing truth. That's why, when the studio backed up a truck of money for Speed 2, he said no. No to the easy cash. No to the lazy sequel. He chose principle over paycheck. That no cost him millions. 1999, The Matrix. Neo wasn't just a role. It was destiny. Keanu trained for months. Martial arts, wire work, hours until his body shook. He herniated a disc in his neck so badly, doctors said paralysis was possible. He went under the knife, metal fused into bone. Still, he strapped on the brace and returned to training. On screen, he bent reality. Off screen, he bent himself into agony. And he never once complained. Not to the press, not to the fans. Because in his mind, the audience deserved everything, even if it cost him his health. October 31st, 1993. Before The Matrix, before John Wick, tragedy had already taken its pound of flesh. River Phoenix collapsed outside the Viper Room. 23 years old. Gone. For Hollywood, it was gossip. For Keanu, it was the death of his other half. His brother. He didn't weep in front of cameras. He went silent. That silence stayed with him for the rest of his life. If you've ever lost someone who knew your soul, you know why. But the cruelest cut was still to come. 1999. He and actress Jennifer Syme were expecting a daughter, Ava. He was ready. Finally, a family. The little boy, abandoned by his father, bounced between cities, finally believed he'd have a home of his own. Christmas Eve, stillborn. The nursery stood quiet. Clothes folded neatly in drawers. A crib that would never hold a child. 2 years later, Jennifer herself was killed in a car accident. The love of his life, gone. At the funeral, Keanu carried her coffin. Not Neo, not John Wick, just a broken man carrying the heaviest truth of all. Everything you love can vanish in an instant. His sister Kim fought leukemia for a decade. Keanu stayed by her side. Hospital rooms instead of red carpets. Reading aloud instead of learning lines. Flying back and forth, no matter the cost, no matter the schedule. When she survived, he didn't cash in on it. He quietly founded a cancer foundation. Millions donated. His name nowhere to be seen. Because real charity doesn't need a headline. By 2014, most actors his age were fading into cameos. Keanu, he came back swinging. John Wick. This time, the grief wasn't hidden. On screen, Wick lost his wife, his dog, his peace. Off screen, Keanu had lost even more. That's why it felt real, because it was real. He trained harder than men half his age. Gun ranges, martial arts, driving courses. No doubles. Bruises covered his body. His knees ached. His spine still screamed from the Matrix. He didn't care. He gave every ounce of himself until his body broke again. That's why John Wick became legend. Because you weren't watching choreography. You were watching sacrifice. But no man outruns time. On the set of Good Fortune, one slip, one wrong step, and his knee gave way. Like a potato chip breaking, he said. A reminder that even Keanu Reeves can't fight age forever. Now, he swims instead of punishing the weights. He walks at dusk. He stretches like it's prayer. Every move is careful. Every step carries the cost of decades. Up in the Hollywood Hills, Keanu has found something rare. Peace. His home isn't a palace. It's a sanctuary. Glass walls that let the morning light in. A koi pond. A lap pool. Gardens where silence is allowed to stay. And there, he's found love again with artist Alexandra Grant. No parades, no paparazzi circus. Just quiet dinners, books, music, and the rare kind of companionship that heals instead of headlines. So what do we make of Keanu Reeves at 61? He is the last honest movie star of his generation. He never chased the easy sequel. He never sold his grief for attention. He gave stunt crews motorcycles, split profits with teams, funded hospitals without his name attached. He didn't lecture us about kindness, he lived it. Look at him today. Silver hair, a careful limp, scars he doesn't hide. That's not weakness. That's proof. Proof that every cheer you gave him cost him something real. So here's the question. Do you want one more ride, one more suit, one more pencil, one more impossible staircase of bodies falling at his feet? Or do you want him to rest, to guard his knees, sit by that koi pond, and finally breathe? There's no wrong answer. Only this. Respect. Respect for a man who carried more loss than most could bear, and still gave us memories we'll carry forever. Because Keanu Reeves is not just Neo, not just John Wick. He's proof that greatness isn't measured in money or fame, but in how you carry grief. With silence, with dignity, with kindness. And if his words, grief changes shape, but it never ends, ever touched your life, if they ever reminded you of someone you miss, someone you still carry, leave their name in the comments below. Share it. Keep it alive, because that's what Keanu Reeves has given us. Not just movies, not just memories, but the reminder that even after the darkest night, the morning light always comes.